Then come forward to the microphone to ask your question. After that, we will transition to the phone for questions. We have about 20 minutes for this press conference. This time, I'll turn it over to President Chuck Stamen.
Well, thank you, and thanks everyone for joining us. With me are UI Athletic Director Dr. Rob Spear and Head Football Coach Paul Petrino. I announced today that the University of Idaho Vandal football team will accept an invitation to join the Big Sky Conference, pending State Board of Education approval, starting in fall 2018. While I understand the magnitude of this decision and the strong opinions that surround it, I am confident that the Big Sky Conference is the best possible choice for our football program and for our student athletes. Moving football to the Big Sky is also the right choice for our students, for academic excellence, and for the long-term success and stature of the University of Idaho. We are, first and foremost, the state's leading residential and research university. The University of Idaho's prestige and relevance will be complemented by our football program, not defined by it. We will be defined by the institution-wide success of our individual and societal impacts, measured by our entire student body experience, our academic and research impact, and our statewide engagement. While the passion and dedication of our student athletes has been consistently strong, UI has always been one of the lowest resource FBS football teams and therefore has struggled to achieve a winning record during our time in the FBS. To become successful enough to affiliate with any FBS conference would entail unjustifiable, unsustainable expenditures. Competing as an independent with an extremely uncertain conference affiliation would be irresponsible, particularly when we have the alternative of joining one of the most prominent and stable FCS conferences. The Big Sky allows us to renew traditional rivalries and offers our athletes the opportunity to excel at the appropriate level of competition, just as they do in our other Big Sky sports programs. Conference stability is important to the future of Vandal athletics. We can't provide stability by hoping another conference will ask us to join them, or that an FBS conference might be realigned in the future to better fit U of I. UI has a long history of success on and off the field as part of the Big Sky Conference. Playing geographically close and similar schools allows for exciting, successful football, much like we have seen in our other athletic programs. Finally, we have spent a significant amount of time considering our football conference options. In fact, the right football conference affiliation for UI was something I was asked about during my interview process over 2 years ago. Since the Sun Belt announced in March that it would move forward with a 10-team league, we have engaged in dialogue with stakeholders statewide, listened to opinions on all sides of the question, and analyzed the input. Joining the stability of the Big Sky Conference will provide our student athletes with the best experience and the best path to success. Providing the best possible experience for all U of I students across all aspects of university life is our responsibility and our privilege. Moving to the Big Sky is the right decision for the University of Idaho and for our football program. I am encouraged by the enthusiasm and dedication in our football program, and I am confident that we are ready to move forward. And we would be happy to stand for questions. Thank you.
All right, we'd ask you to come forward to the mic to ask your question. Identify yourself.
Oh. Okay, I'm taking a video.
President Staben, I'm Michael Sean with the Moscow Daily News. Just want to ask when this decision was officially made, and have you reached out to the Big Sky Conference already and talked to Commissioner Both?
Yes, thank you, Michael. We made this decision shortly after, well, during last weekend, and began the announcement process. And yes, we have discussed this with Commissioner Fullerton already, and the Big Sky presidents. We think it's a good decision, and we're ready to move forward, and they are ready to move forward with us.
Did the May 4th deadline add any pressure, make you speed up your decision, and did you ask for an extension from the conference, the Big Sky Conference?
Michael Sean, no, we did not ask for an extension of that May 4th deadline. As you may know, the Big Sky is considering a number of members, and at this point, Idaho has essentially a guaranteed acceptance into the Big Sky, pending State Board of Education approval, which I fully anticipate. And so, so that deadline was one that we wanted to meet.
Do we have other questions from within the room? Yes?
John Blanchett from the Spokesman Review. President Staben, obviously you said this was there were a lot of opinions on both sides of this. What are you going to do? What are your plans to reach out to the people who were pretty adamantly against this move?
Thanks, John. Yes, we've certainly received opinions for and against this particular move. It's one that there's a great deal of passion. I think the important thing for all of our alumni and supporters to realize is that that passion is very important. It is perhaps what distinguishes Vandals, the incredible passion they have for the university. And they can take pride in our football program as we move forward and as we continue to provide the great student-athlete experience and the great student experience that we have for 127 years to this point. I'm confident our alumni will line up behind us and support our students and support our student-athletes.
This question's for Dr. Spear. As far as Title IX compliance goes, what does this mean in terms of eliminating sports, and have you reached out to those coaches whose programs may be eliminated?
Rob, go ahead and take that one.
Well, thank you for the question, Michael Sean. As I communicated with the president, we have no plans at this time to eliminate any sports at the University of Idaho.
Does that mean as of now you'll be in compliance with all Title IX obligations, even if you drop down to Big Sky?
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
I need an add camera, so I'm just gonna be really loud. This one's for Coach Petrino. Just how do you handle this transition? Obviously, scholarships will be affected. What's to move here in the next couple of years for you personally and for your student athletes?
I think, first of all, my number one job as the head coach is to graduate student athletes. So that's where everything starts. We've done a great job since I got here of improving our APR from an 838 to a 957. Our first year here, we graduated 75% of our student athletes. Our second year, we got it up to 83, and this last season, we graduated every single student except for one. Next year, by December, we have 24 seniors next year. They'll all be graduated with the exception of 3, and they'll all graduate in May. So that's where it starts out. The second thing is to bring in 18-year-old young adults and watch them grow and help them become successful 22-year-old adults, and move forward and become successful men. And then the last thing is to develop them as better football players. So my job really doesn't change. That's what my job is. I'm going to go 100 miles an hour to do all those things, and so we're going to make sure we bring them in, we graduate them, we help them grow and become better men, and then we put the best football team we can. And I'm very excited for our team next year. I think we're going to have a great team, and I'm just going to move forward and keep doing my job as hard as I can.
So are you not worried too much about 2018 right now with the scholarship?
No, you're worried, and that's why it's good to have a 2-year plan to get there. But by having the 2 years to get there, we will make sure that we're where we need to be scholarship-wise, so that first year we can go into the into the playoffs and be successful there.
All right.
Dan Hawk, KIBI in Boise. This question's for Mr. Spear. As far as scheduling goes, how does this affect with the Power 5 conferences that you already have on schedule in the future?
We'll need to evaluate that. We've had conversations with some of the schools. We've been very upfront about our situation, and we'll proceed as we are going to move into the Big Sky in 2018, and we'll adjust that schedule accordingly.
Follow-up question with that, could there be a possibility in the future of renewing a rivalry with Boise State down in Boise?
I'll take that one. We would love to renew a rivalry with Boise State. At this point, that is renewing that rivalry is something that will require cooperation of both schools, and we're certainly ready to cooperate on renewing that rivalry.
All right, we'll transition over and take some questions from the phone.
Ladies and gentlemen over the phone, if you wish to ask a question, please press star then 1. You will hear a tone indicating you've been placed into queue, and you may also remove yourself from the queue at any time by pressing the pound key. Once again, if you would like to ask a question, please press star and then 1 at this time. One moment for the first question. Our first question is from the line of Dave Southern with the Idaho Statesman. Please go ahead.
This question is for Rob. I wanted to ask, what is the plan in terms of getting the scholarships to the number that is required in the FCS, and what is the plan for that right now?
Dave, we have worked with the NCAA. We've worked with the NLI people. We are very confident as we move forward. The NCAA views this, it's black and white. To be eligible for the playoffs, we have to be at 63 scholarships. We have a transition plan. We'll be able to accommodate the needs of our current football student athletes and also ensure that we're going to replenish the program for the future from a recruiting standpoint.
I would simply like to add, if I may, that the NCAA has assured us that normal transfer rules apply to our current student athletes. And so we anticipate that those student athletes will stay here and they'll want to stay here to participate in the great football program that Coach Petrino runs and the great academics that they're engaged in.
As a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, please press star then 1. We have a follow-up question from Dave. Please go ahead.
I want to follow up with Mr. Spear real quick about, is there a plan to get down to that number by a certain year? Is it, in time for 2018, or will it take a little bit beyond that?
Well, I think it's why we're transitioning over 2 years. Dave, we will be at 63 scholarships in 2018.
And there are no further questions in the queue.
All right.
This question is for Paul. Paul, when did you let your team know, and what was the reaction from the players?
I let them know this morning. We had a team meeting this morning at 8 o'clock, and the biggest thing that we talked about is we finished spring ball with a lot of excitement. Felt like we really played well, and we're going to go into this off season. First of all, I got to finish really strong these next 2 weeks for finals. We talked about that. We talked about we're going to have a great summer and really focus on having a great season next year. And that's, we'd had a team meeting prior to this, just talking about the momentum that we have and how we're moving forward and how we're really excited to have a great season next year. And I felt like the response to the team meeting was very well. And right now, this whole week, I've been meeting with each player individually, and that'll continue through today and tomorrow. And I told the freshmen and sophomores, because really the juniors and seniors, nothing changes for them, but a lot of the freshmen and sophomores, that if they need to talk more one-on-one, that they're going to come and meet with me more throughout the week and on the weekend.
Yeah, and a follow-up to that, a lot of people were advocating for the FCS move, were advocating for that because it may ensure, more success at that level. Does that put more pressure on the program to succeed right away when you get into the Big Sky?
I don't look that far ahead, to be honest with you. I'm looking for next season. And next season, I'm looking for us to be successful next year, and that's what we're really excited about right now.
Sean Kramer with the Sports Review. This one's for Dr. Spear. I want to kind of go back to the boosters, especially those ones who advocated for FBS. Staben, has an optimistic view of it in the future, but in the short term, is it going to be difficult to keep those guys on board?
The rules of the game changed, Sean, when we got into FBS. And you have autonomy, you have full cost of attendance, you have all these different things that are happening. You have rules change to allow conferences to participate in conference championship games with just 10 members. So the game that we signed up for has changed over time. And as you've heard the president talk about, it is really impossible for us to afford to stay at that level and be competitive. And I'm about the student athlete, the student part first, and I think it's really important that we embrace the academic integrity of this great institution, because when we provide a quality degree from this institution, that's a lifetime changing situation. And I hope that our supporters understand the core mission of this institution is to provide a great education. We've got some work to do. We've got to engage them and get them back, but I'm confident that we are going to continue to look at options. We are going to continue to be the best that we can be, and really what we can do right now is control what we can control.
I know one thing that you and President Saban are trying to really get done here is a basketball arena, an event center. Do you think this will have any impact on that?
I'll take that one. Yes, the arena is our top fundraising priority at this point. We think it's critical to the improvements in our basketball program that we want to see. I think it's a great example of how we want to invest, and we hope that others will join us in investing in the future of Vandal athletics. Recent development that I think is extraordinary was that our students levied upon themselves a facilities fee to support that basketball arena. It's clear our students want a great residential experience, one that offers great Vandal athletics and excitement on campus, and this move to FCS is related, is really part of that. And we need to do that, and I am quite confident we will be able to do that, to build a basketball arena.
Looks like we have time for one more question. We have someone who hasn't asked one yet.
Theo Lawson with the Lewiston Tribune. This is for Chuck Staben. From what I understand, you guys hired an outside consulting firm to weigh your options. What did the results from that study show, and did you guys make your decision based on those results?
Yes, Sean, we did hire an outside consultant, and we received a consultant report. Those results were consistent with most of the information that we had received ourselves in the past, and therefore we used that report. We used input from boosters. Frankly, I've met with other college presidents, with commissioners, with the NCAA. This has been a long process, and that report was only one small part of that process, but the information we received from the report was consistent with the decision that we've made and with the bulk of the input that I received.
And one more for Paul. You accepted a job here when the school was an FBS school. Are you prepared to make the transition in 2 years when Idaho drops down to the FCS?
Yes, I am. Looking forward to it.
One more.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Mr. Staben. A lot of college football people on the outside would think that this, the first time that this has ever happened, would think that this is not a good thing. But seeing your position, how would you be able to, what would you say to those people that this is a good thing? It's never happened before, and one would think that it's not a good thing.
Thanks for the question. Actually, colleges have made decisions about their athletics programs that are somewhat similar. The one that is probably the classic is the University of Chicago choosing to leave the Big Ten in 1946. Now, it's been a long time since 1946. I appreciate that. But really the decision was somewhat similar. The decision then and our decision today is that we want to focus on the student athlete. We want to focus on a great experience for those people who come here to play football. We want to ensure that every time our students step on the field, they will be competitive, that they will have the opportunity to excel. Our student athletes in all of our other sports are competing successfully for championships in the Big Sky. We believe our football team can do that in 2018 and beyond, and can get our football athletes can get great education here as all of our other students do. So we think this is not actually an unprecedented decision. It's motivated by the same factors that have motivated decisions at this university for 127 years and have motivated other schools to make somewhat similar choices. Not frequently, but it has happened.
All right. I'm gonna wrap things up, I think, and thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Thank you, members of the media, for joining us. Members of the media, I do have copies of the President's statement if you would like to take one of those with you. It will also be available on the U of I website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.